So with nomenclature, we have carbons that can range from one carbon, such as here in methane. The most you will probably see is 12 carbons, which is decane. So what happens is you will drop this last suffix here and add YL on all of these to name your compounds. So methane becomes methyl, ethane becomes ethyl, propane becomes propyl, and so forth. So how would you name something like this? So the first thing you want to do is start naming at the carbon that is closest to the substituent. In this case, the substituent, which is this bromide ion, is connected to this carbon. So you will name it from this direction. So you know 1, 2, 3 is propane. A 3-carbon chain is a propane. Or should I say a 3-carbon single chain is a propane. And that bromo substituent is on the number 1 carbon. So you have to locate that, indicate that as 1 bromo propane. And a quick note, you will have that Br group is really a bromine. It's called bromine if it's existing by itself. But as soon as you connect it to a compound, it's called bromide. And for nomenclature purposes, we call that a bromo. It's going to be the same thing for your chlorine as well. Chlorine, as it exists, is as such. If it's connected to a compound, it's chloride. And if it's a part of nomenclature naming, it's chloro. So you have bromo, chloro, then of course you have fluorine and all the others we'll go through next. So how would you name something like this? So again, in nomenclature, specifically IUPAC / substitutive nomenclature, you're going to start naming from the carbon that's closest to the substituent. You're going to also name the longest continuous chain of carbons. And in this case, it is quite simple from right to left. You would not start naming over here because this bromide is closest to this carbon. So that would be incorrect. So start naming from right to left. And the whole idea is you're trying to locate the substituent, which is whatever is attached to that carbon chain. So this is your carbon chain in this example. This is attached to that carbon chain. You need to locate it. It's on the 2 carbon. So that'd be 2 bromo. How many carbons do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbon chain is a butane. So 2 bromo butane. How would you name this compound? Okay, so this can often get students confused at first because technically the longest continuous chain can be either this direction or this direction. Either way, you are going to have a methyl group at the number 2 carbon. So if I come this way, this methyl group would be at this number 2 carbon. Or if I go this way, this methyl group is going to be at this number 2 carbon. So in these situations, you have an option of how you want to name the compound based upon the longest continuous chain of carbons. I always like to keep it simple and just go from left to right or right to left. In this situation, this substituent is closest to this carbon. So you name it 1, 2, 3. And this methane substituent is called a methyl when it's attached to a carbon chain. Methyl. So that is methane, but it's called methyl. Located 2-methyl butane. And a quick note, it doesn't matter if this methyl group is on the bottom like indicated here, or whether it's on the top like this. You would name it the same way. So these compounds are often symmetrical. So if you have it like this, you would get the exact same name for the compound. So whether it's up and down. So what if we had something like this? Now here, it is very easy to get confused. All right. So first thing we want to do is find the longest continuous chain. Again, that can be either here to here, or it can be here to here. I like to go left to right or right to left. In this case, this bromo and methyl are really equal in terms of rank. In terms of which one you're going to decide gets to be numbered first. So when you have substituents that are equal in rank, you're going to number it alphabetically. And B comes before M, so you're going to name it 1, 2, 3, 4. So you will start naming it from right to left. And just so we're clear, this is number 1 carbon, this is number 2 carbon, that's the number 3 carbon, that's number 4 carbon. I guess I can number it up here, be less confusing. So the bromo group is on the number 2 carbon, so you have 2 bromo. This methyl group is on the number 3 carbon, so that's 3 methyl. And butane. A 4 carbon chain is a butane. This methyl group is on this number 3 carbon. This bromo group is on this number 2 carbon. So we have 2 bromo, 3 methyl, butane. Now don't get confused with this. In this situation it would be the same either way, but if you had a, say a fluoro group on here, which is an F, and I have done this. This is a letter C, but it's a methyl when you're naming it. And sometimes if you get in a hurry, you will look at this and start just looking at the letters instead of what it's going to be on this side over here. And what it's called is what you're going to alphabetize by. So feel free to pause the video. This should be a 3 here. Feel free to pause the video, work on this, and come back and see what you got. So just like before, let's find the longest continuous chain. And I'm going to keep hammering this home. Technically, you can go here or here. I like to go here because it's just better to keep it situated in my mind. So that's the longest continuous chain of carbons. And we can name it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just so we're crystal clear, I'm counting these carbons here, if that's not clear enough already. That's the chain. So we got a 5 carbon chain. And on this number 2 carbon here, of this chain, we have 2 methyls. So what would you do with that? it will certainly be 2-methyl. But in nomenclature, you have to locate each substituent individually and then reflect that in the overall name. So in this situation, it would be 2,2-dimethyl pentane. So this number 2 carbon has 2 methyls. So you would say 2, this methyl group is on the number 2 carbon. You would say 2 because this methyl is on the number 2 carbon, separated by a hyphen. And di means 2. If you had 3, that would mean tri. 4 is tetra. The most that I've dealt with in my OChem class was tetra. So I'm not sure if you'll really see more than... I don't even think you can put... carbon can only have 4 bonds. So you really won't ever see more than tetra connected to something. I think so. Don't hold me to that, but the most I've ever seen is tetra. And of course methyl. And this is a 5-carbon chain, so that's a pentane. And might I add, that's a 5-carbon single chain. So 2,2-dimethyl pentane. And this would be a good place to make it clear. You're going to divide or separate numbers by a comma, numbers and words by a hyphen, and in IUPAC substitutive nomenclature, the words like this are going to be together. So you wouldn't want to say dimethylpentane as 2 separate words. Now in functional class names, that's a little different. You will have 2 separate words, but I'm not covering that in this video. I'll make another video for that, so we can get some practice getting those down.